Hello and welcome back to the channel. Well, this is going to be another one of those sounding of the alarm type videos. And if you don't want to hear me sounding the alarm, then you might want to click off of the video because we have to do this. So my question is, are you seeing the food shortages said to come in 2022 in your area yet? Now, of course, there are those who say that they are not seeing it yet, or they're only seeing it a little bit. But then you have those who are seeing it a lot more. And of course, it depends on what area you live in. If you're in a more populated area, of course, you're going to see more of the shortages than someone who lives in an area that is not as populated, right? But nonetheless, we have got to continue to sound the alarm because we are headed towards some very, very difficult times for a lot of people in this country. Some very difficult times. Some see the handwriting on the wall, some do not. Anyway, I want you to take a listen at this short report on the food shortages, on what some people are experiencing in their areas. And of course, you know, I will be right back.
Whole Foods outside, up and down the aisles of this Whole Foods outside San Francisco.
A lot of produce was just out. Like the green onions gone, like the apples I was looking for weren't there.
To this ShopRite in New Jersey.
Some of the water was missing last time, some of the cereals were missing.
Shoppers across the country are being met with empty shelves.
This is actually the third store I've been to tonight trying to find some pasta.
And sticker shock.
Prices are off the charts for a middle-class family to eat.
Last month, it was $5, half a gallon orange juice. This month, $10 for a half a gallon, but only one type.
A new report from the Bureau of Labor Statistics found the price of ground beef jumped 13% over the last year. Fresh fruits nearly 8%, eggs 11%. In addition to the sticker shock, shoppers across the country are complaining of supply chain shortages, sharing images on social media of empty shelves at grocery stores. Experts say the shortage is a perfect storm. Severe winter weather mixed with supply chain issues and a rise in COVID cases keeping workers out sick amid ongoing staffing shortages. The nation's truckers tell CBS News they're operating with 80,000 fewer drivers than needed. This problem with some empty shelves in some stores, is that going away anytime soon?
Well, it's gonna be several weeks before we see relief.
Doug Baker is with the Food Industry Association that works with grocery stores. According to his group, consumer demand for groceries jumped 50% at the start of the pandemic and has not slowed as many people continue to cook and eat most meals at home. Their recent survey found about half of shoppers say they've noticed some products not available at their grocery stores.
It's sort of like playing whack-a-mole. If you don't see it today, you'll probably see it tomorrow.
So we don't really know what the next local item shortage is going to be?
Yeah, we unfortunately we don't typically know until it's upon us.
Okay, so in that report, they were not just talking about food shortages, but what else were they talking about? They were talking about the rise in prices. Now, so even if you're not seeing the food shortages, I know you're seeing the price hikes, the increased prices. I know for one thing, we are seeing them. We are seeing them. Some of the things that we've had to purchase, we've noticed a significant increase in the price. And so even if you're not going to see the shortages, those price increases can also be very, very destructive to somebody's pocketbook. So the times that we are headed in, we see right now that it's not looking good, especially here in this country where people are used to things going a certain way. When you're used to things going a certain way, of course, when this kind of stuff starts to happen, you don't know what to do with yourself. And so as we see these things, I always say this is not for us to fear, but for us to fortify and for us to do what it is we have to do. And of course, I always got to get up on my soapbox and talk about growing your own food. Of course, you knew that's where I was going with this. And I always get those who say, well, everyone can't do it. Everyone, of course, can't do the same things, but there is something that everyone can do, right? Even if that means swallowing your pride and going to a relative and saying, look, let me use your yard. How many times have I said that before? I've seen people who literally have no land at all, but they have formed themselves a business or an organization that is totally centered around using other people's yards to grow food. And they basically say, I'll do all the work, but we will split the profits, or we will split the crops. You see, not the profits, but the crops. The models that I've seen, those who are the growers and do all of the work, they basically allow, or not allow, but they have an agreement with the person who has the property that they can get whatever they want out of, what is grown there. And in exchange, they will put forth all of the work and the effort, and they're able to produce an income from it. So even if you're not trying to do it as an income, as a lot of people are going after that particular model, you can still do it and say, look, I'm growing enough food to where if you let me use your land, even if it's just a backyard, we can share the food, you see. And of course, you want to educate people on what's going on, because some people are not paying attention to that, right? Some people are, but they just don't have the time to do what I'm talking about, right? So if you do have the time, you find yourself in a situation where you don't have a yard to plant, maybe go to someone else who does, right? Go to someone else who does and say, look, we need to do this. I'm willing to put forth the work and the effort if you are willing to let me use your land. That way, the cucumbers that grow here, the tomatoes, the onions, the bell peppers, the corn, whatever it is you're growing, that person may say, wow, I don't mind doing this if I can just go out to my backyard and there's food there for the taking. Of course, an agreement will be made on how much can be taken, right? Because the person who is putting forth all the effort, of course, they have to get something out of this, right? But the point is this. The point is the fact that you got to do something. You got to try something. You got to try something, because it seems like you're being forced in that direction one way or another, whether it's empty shelves or whether it's high prices that are so unaffordable that you have to do something. And of course, I always talk about container gardening as well, where you can grow things in containers. Of course, over the years, I've done a lot of these videos, some years back, and I would like to have more of an increase in these types of videos. I used to do it all of the time, but with time constraints, I haven't done it as much, right? But we're going into another growing season real soon. As a matter of fact, we have already started with our seedlings. I encourage all of you, don't let this cold weather hold you back. Put it in front of a windowsill if you have to. Get you a tray or 2 or 3 or 4, whatever space you have in front of a southern facing window. Get you some seeds started. It is that time. This year, none of us can afford to play around, because whether it's empty shelves or high prices, you're going to be hit one way or another. And so don't be caught sleeping on this. It's time to get busy. It's time to fortify. It's not time to fear. Okay? So anyway, I am done with this video. I want you to share your thoughts in the comment section below. Are you seeing those shortages in your area, or are you seeing the price hikes? Of course, many of us are seeing the price hikes and the shortages. So regardless of what it is you're seeing, share your comments below. Until next time. We hope you liked today's topic. Please leave your comments below. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, share it like this video, and with that, we're out. Be sure to ring the bell to be notified of new uploads on this channel, and also comment, share, like, and subscribe.